What's up guys, Artem MMA Analysis here, going to be talking about UFC 47, headlined by Yorgan de Castro and Junior dos Santos. This is absolutely insane. I don't know if you guys know or not, but I actually went perfect. I went 11 for 11 on my picks on Eagle FC 46, so hopefully we can ride that momentum. Yes, that card was a while ago, and unfortunately we don't have Rayborg on this card. Unfortunately we don't have Ryder Newman on this card. Some signees for Eagle FC that I'm quite excited to see. Unfortunately they haven't come back, but we've got some good fights. We've got some former UFC fighters, former Bellator fighters as well. I mean, Hector Lombard and Tiago Silver in the co-main event I think is actually really cool fight. Two veterans, you know, they're fighting each other, they're not fighting a young up-and-comer. As always, if you want to throw down money on a promotion like this or UFC or anything, BetUS is your go-to place. You get a 125% sign-up bonus using my link in the description. That's it for the intro. Sorry, it was a much longer intro. That I just kind of wanted to flex the fact that I went perfect in Eagle FC 46. Akhmed Aliev versus Daryl Horcher. I will be picking Akhmed Aliev to win this one here. He has been winning and losing, I think, it's going to say in the PFL, for a couple of years now. But now he's going to be fighting Daryl Horcher. I don't know if you guys know this, but Daryl Horcher stepped in on short notice to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov when he was undefeated. So he wasn't undefeated, sorry, he was 12-1. He stepped on very short notice to fight Khabib. Khabib beat him up pretty bad, to be fair. It's kind of funny in how that he's going to be fighting Khabib's promotion, but I think that the Khabib respects Daryl Horcher, so he's giving him this fight. But I thought he retired. I thought Daryl Horcher retired, so I don't really know where his head's at in this one here. I'm going to be picking Akhmed Aliev. He's the more active fighter as of recently. He's been fighting quite a bit in PFL. He's got wins over some pretty good opponents as well, you know what I mean? So, Akhmed Aliev, you probably will out-wrestle Daryl Horcher. Not in the same way that Khabib did, but probably in a similar sort of fashion. I will just be picking Aliev to win straight up. Reggie Pena versus Ronnie Marks. This fight was meant to happen on the last card. I think something happened last minute and we didn't quite get the fight, but I'm picking Ronnie Marks to win this one here. I think the fight's taking place at light heavyweight. Reggie Pena's last weigh-in or latest official weight was 171 pounds. He's 39 years old, you know what I mean? Like, he's on a good win streak, yeah. But my guy, I mean, he's been so inactive. He fought 3 months ago, yeah, which is cool. But before that, he fought like 5 years ago almost. 7 years ago before that, you know, like he's just been taking some huge layoffs. I feel like maybe he's just fighting. He's fighting for fun at this point, maybe. Maybe he's fighting for money or something like that. But I feel like Ronnie Marks, 34 years old. I guess he still probably has a little bit in him. You know, he's been quite active. He did lose a couple of times in Bellator, to be fair, but he's come back over not so great competition, but I think they should be able to beat a guy like Reggie Pena, 39 years old. I'm picking Ronnie Marks to probably finish the fight as well. Yosdani Cedino versus Islam Mamedov. This is a mismatch in my opinion. Islam Mamedov, I didn't realize, like, did he get cut from Bellator after that, or does Scott Coker and Khabib like have a good friendship and they've just let him have Islam Mamedov or something like that? But Islam Mamedov was in Bellator, he only fought once. He beat Brent Primus by split decision, then he lost to Benson Henderson, and now he's going to be fighting in Khabib's promotion. I think he should be able to easily beat Yosdani Cedino. 11-7 record in general wasn't that impressive, but if you look at it, he's 37 years old. He hasn't fought for 3 years. I mean, that's kind of all I really have to say. He just hasn't fought for 3 years. He is a former UFC fighter. I did forget about that, but Cody Swister, a loss to Cody Swister, even back then, isn't that great of a loss, to be fair. But Islam Mamedov really should be able to win this fight here by submission. I definitely expect an inside the distance for Mamedov, a little bit of a mismatch. Tough fight to pick. Alexandria de Almeida versus Roosevelt Roberts. I feel like Roosevelt Roberts more is that jiu-jitsu sort of guy. He lost really quickly to Kevin Kroom, but they got overturned. That was a loss to Kevin Kroom, man, who I think fought at bantamweight relatively recently in the UFC. Like, oh, that loss has aged badly. He lost to Jim Miller as well. He lost to Ignacio Bahamontes by KO. But since then, he did beat some guy in the regional scene, you know, by KO. So good for Roosevelt Roberts. But he just wasn't the prospect that a lot of people thought that he was in the UFC, unfortunately for him. My mouse has decided to stop working. Okay, there we go. Alejandro de Almeida at the moment trading a lot of wins and losses. I believe he does train with Khamzat Chimaev. I believe there's photos out there with him training with Khamzat Chimaev. So he's definitely training with good guys. He's been fighting with somewhat decent levels of competition. We lost to Steven Seiler, who's fought everywhere, to be fair. He lost to Lance Palmer, a very good PFL fighter. Yeah, I'm going to be picking Roosevelt. Oh, man, I don't... Oh, I'm going to pick Roosevelt Roberts. You know what? I'm picking Roosevelt Roberts to make a comeback. And yeah, I'm just gonna pick Roosevelt Roberts still, and hopefully he can get the game to the fight to where he wants it. Mikey Patolo versus Doug Usher. Tough fight to pick because Mikey Patolo really isn't on a good, doesn't have good momentum right now. He missed weight in his last fight officially. He beat Fernando Gonzalez, who was on the regional scene a couple of months ago. Before that, he was on a bad losing streak. Lost to Dusko Tavorovich, lost to Julian Marquez, lost to Imba Kasanganay, lost to Darren Stewart even as well. Doug Usher, on the other hand, on a good win streak, but he's 39 years old. The UFC or Bellator probably, Bellator probably will, knowing them, but the UFC will never sign a 39-year-old in my opinion, but he's been relatively active as well. He does have really good wins in there too. To be fair, I don't really know anything about Doug Usher, but I do know something about Mikey Patolo. This Mikey Patolo is a bit of a savage. He does have good power in the hands as well. Let's go, Mikey Patolo, to make a big comeback. You know, he's got a couple of KOs in the he's got a couple of KOs in UFC. Not really against the best competition. Justin Sumter, who recently lost in CES MMA in a title fight. Charles Bird, I don't even know what Charles Bird is up to these days. He retired after that. Okay, yeah, I think he retired. Yeah, he hasn't fought since. So, yeah, I'll pick Mikey Patolo by KO. You know what? Let's go, Mikey Patolo to make a comeback. Make a comeback, Mikey. All right, this next one I'm picking Dennis Hughes to win here. Just the younger prospect in my opinion. Dylan Mantello. I mean, when you're 4-2 and you've lost 2 in a row, I feel like that's kind of when you start to build it back up again. You start to fight the guys that are 0-0, 3-8. You know what I mean? You build the record up a little bit. You don't just go in there against Dennis Hughes, who recently fought on I guess the equivalent to PFL Contender Series. On the PFL Challenger Series, he lost to Yanao Ishmael, who was undefeated at the time. And yeah, so now he's going to be fighting Eagle FC. That's kind of like what I like about Eagle FC. They sign guys from everywhere. You know, they sign guys, former UFC fighters, former Bellator fighters, former PFL fighters, and also like guys that even lost on the PFL Dana White's Contender Series. You know what I mean? The Challenger Series, which is kind of crazy to me that they do that. But yeah, I'm picking Dennis Hughes. He's just a younger prospect in my opinion. He's got a really good ground game as well, which he has shown. He's very active as well. But so is Mantello. Great opportunity for both guys to get a big win. I'm just going to side with the Tapology favourite in Hughes. Moving on, I'm picking Tiago Silver to beat Hector Lombard. I like Tiago Silver more so in the fact that he's a little bit younger. More so in the fact that Hector Lombard has been fighting in BKFC as like a 44-year-old. I mean, I believe he was actually the BKFC champion for a while, but it's kind of just all I really need to know. I mean, he's 42 years old fighting in BKFC. He's taken so much damage in his MMA career. I don't need to see him take more damage in bare knuckle boxing, you know what I mean? But I do like this fact that he's fighting Tiago Silva. I do like the fact that he's fighting another former UFC fighter, a guy that's been in the game for a while. Worth noting that it is at light heavyweight as well, which is probably more Tiago Silva's weight class considering he's 6'1". Hector Lombard's 5'9", and yeah, I mean, like, you know, he hasn't fought in MMA for about 4 years. Tiago Silva hasn't fought in MMA for about 3 years, you know, and even then, he was cut from the UFC. He definitely fought in the UFC, though, right? Yeah, I was going to say, like, I'm thinking about the same guy, right? I'm such an egg, man. He fought in the UFC for a bit, but then after that, he went to World Series of Fighting, which is PFL right now, but he had a weird sort of career. Yeah, he fought in the UFC almost about, like, 10, 15 years ago, but moving on from that, I like Tiago Silva in this one here. I guess an MMA legend in some sort of way. So is Hector Lombard, I guess, in some sort of way as well. I will be going with Silva. I really don't want to see Lombard get knocked out, so I'm just going to be picking Silva by decision in this one here. Good fight, though. I like the fact that Hector Lombard and Tiago Silva are fighting each other. It's not like Tiago Silva and like some hungry up-and-comer are fighting, or Hector Lombard and some guy that could knock him out with one shot. I mean, Tiago Silva potentially could, but I mean, like, you know, like a young guy. They're not fighting like young guys that will come up and try and take their name, you know. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that they're fighting each other. And the main event, Yorgan de Castro versus Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos, he's 38 years old. He's on his way out. He's well on his way out. He's been on his way out since he got knocked out by Curtis Blades, in my opinion. Because then he's on a 4-fight KO loss streak, man. Yorgan de Castro's on a 2-fight win streak, but I forgot about that. I watched that fight. I was gonna say I thought he got the submission, but he hasn't knocked anyone out in a while. But Yorgan de Castro still has KO power, you know what I mean? I don't think he did win in the UFC, I think, a couple of fights, but I think he signed to the UFC maybe a little bit too early, even though he is about 34 years old. Junior Dos Santos, on the other hand, like former champion, he's been in there with some of the best. I mean, his last loss was to Cyril Gane, you know what I mean? And Jairzinho Rosenstrike, Curtis Blades, Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou's the champion. Curtis Blades a top 5 fighter. Jairzinho Rosenstrike's top 10 fighter, I think. Cyril Gane, I think, is still a top 5 fighter as well. Like, Junior Dos Santos, he's on his way out, but he's not on his way out, as in, like, he'll lose to a guy that got cut from the UFC off a 3-fight losing streak to Greg Hardy, Carlos Felipe, and Yazzie Danho, you know what I mean? That's right, I forgot, he's the one that knocked out Justin Huffer. Pain. Just so much pain. What does Tapology have to say about this? Oh, just a mistake in the bookings. But yeah, I think Dos Santos wins this one. I think he beats Yorgan de Castro. Unless Yorgan de Castro has improved so much since his UFC run way back in the day, Junior Dos Santos, in my opinion, probably still could beat a couple of guys in the top 25 in the heavyweight division. I don't think Yorgan de Castro probably could. That's kind of what you can base it on, really. I think Junior Dos Santos has got it. I'm excited. Hopefully they add a couple more fights. I mean, like, I know it's only 4 days away, but surely there's more fights to be added to this card. It's only an 8-fight card. If you guys know Eagle FC doesn't mess around like the UFC does. They don't spend half an hour in between their fights. As soon as one fight's over, the next fight's on. This is going to be a very, very short fight card, and also it's free to watch as well. You download the FLX Cast app, or you go to FLX Cast online. It's all free. It's all free to watch, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's all I've really got to say. Hopefully you guys enjoy the card. I know I will. I do love Eagle FC, to be fair. So I'll just catch you in the next one.